I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to be heard. I just want to be heard in my household. It's my house as well. Do you know what I mean? I want to have a voice, and Paul is kind of gradually taking away my voice, literally. I'm sorry, because I don't want to have these kind of conversations without him.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Listen, we're talking to you guys about Bkchat Blue Therapy. We are discussing now Chioma and also Paul, and we're just kind of breaking down their relationship and actually what's happened within the scale of episode 2. I've entitled this one, Chioma is losing her voice under Paul's control. Okay, she's losing her voice under Paul's control. She just admitted it there in that clip we just played for you, and we want to break down a little bit of the review, and give you guys a different aspect to their relationship. I want to say this as well. Paul, for me, is a controlling person, and it's a place out of insecurity. Now, I'm going to break that down in a second video, part 2 of our videos, where we do a bit more of the coaching. But in this particular review, I'm going to talk more in terms of the control and how it showed across the screen. And hopefully, if you're watching as well, you can learn something from this, where you can see patterns of control, maybe in your own relationship, or maybe you've done it before yourself, or maybe you've been in a relationship like that, and you can also understand and agree where I'm also coming from. So, again, I'm just talking about control in the review on this particular episode. Guys, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you got the minerals, you got the minerals. Listen what we got here, baby. Stay hydrated, because why? The streets are hot. Okay, they're very, very hot. Okay, let's play a little bit more of the clip and then we'll get into the actual video.
You know, because again, I want it to be constructive. So I'll be back. Just give me a second.
But
I'm so sorry.
If it's too much, then don't worry. We can.
No, because he needs to be here. This is why I kind of reached out to you. I'm so sorry. Just give me a minute.
That's fine.
She's taking the piss. Like, she knows me better than anyone else, and she knows how I get in these situations.
So, apologies, I went a bit further than I wanted to go. But we're talking more, obviously, about Chioma and Paul. Sorry, my camera just wanted to decide to go there. We're talking a lot about Chioma and Paul, and we're breaking down, obviously, control and insecurity. And I'm going to put it across the screen for you guys. Control and insecurity, okay? And then I'm going to break this down for you and let you know where these existed within the actual review of the episode, okay? Control review. Now, here's the thing. First, I want to say this. Look. In Paul's way of dealing with Chioma, one of the ways that he's breaking control or bringing control in a relationship is, I call it, removing pillars from the foundations of Chioma. That is removing love and choosing when to give it. That is overly criticizing. That is hiding. That is forcing a very negative environment to hide, so that she has to hide things. Over policing of her Instagram. That is with his particular behavior, causing her to apologize all the time just to get him to behave in a certain way. And as we saw at the very end of that clip, where she said, "I'm going to go and get him," that is also manipulation, where you consistently throw tantrums so that a person now will come to you and then have to yield in order to get you to move. They're having to appease you in order to move. These are all methods of manipulation and control. And I'll break something down for you. It says, false sense of responsibility is one of the ways that an insecure person will try to bring their control into a relationship, right? They will have control over you, your family, your friends, and it causes them to feel unnecessarily overly responsible, okay, for everything, which makes them hyper vigilant on every detail. Now, we've seen this from, we saw this from Paul to Chioma in the way that he polices her particular Instagram, right? That he wants to make sure that she doesn't post anything mad, because that affects the brand, that affects how they look online. That's how he's scared his clients will see it. And all of it is just really nonsense, because where he even saw the post was on a friend's post. He was scaling, he was snooping, he was going around doing what we do on Instagram, and saw the post on a friend's post. And then he used it to question her as to why she was moving in this particular way in the club, which was like a few seconds of her dancing, etc., right? But those are all methods of control when you begin to be overly critical, begin to domineer, and begin to take over. They begin to exert a force on the relationship, which causes the person not to be able to act as normal, right? That the person has to become premeditated in every action they make. Let me stay hydrated and get my juice up in here, okay? All right, cool. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's break it down a little. I'm going to talk about the control, and then we'll go into actual review. Number one, the first thing that we've seen from Chioma is that she's already had to apologize, and she feels like she's apologizing quite a few times, right? Even when we saw in that last scene where she had to go after him and follow after him, she actually is going to have to appease him, right? She appeases his particular ego. And that in itself is problematic. All right, let's go to a little clip. I'll show you guys a little clip of what I'm talking about here, right? Okay, so let's just go to this. Just listen to this.
Right now, it's like, come on. Like, I've done what I can do, like.
Yeah, privacy? Yeah, am I gonna have privacy? Will you give me a minute?
Paul likes his ego stroked every now and then, and I'm quite happy to do that.
Pause. That comment in itself tells me of everything. Now, it's not an apology, but the mere fact that she's even happy to stroke his ego is a problem. We've got an enabler aspect here. I'm not saying that a woman has to not prop up her man. No, prop up your man in good things. But we don't prop up bad behavior. We don't have to prop up your ego when you're moving mad. No, that means we are now enabling your behavior and actually rewarding you for bad behavior. And when you reward bad behavior, you're conditioning a person to continue in that lineage, right? And that actually becomes, and that oftentimes is, one, the enabler's fault, but two, also some will call it narcissist, but I'll say just the controlling person here, because I don't label someone narcissist just like that. I'm not saying, I can't see that he lacks empathy in this particular regard. He might be on a scale, but I wouldn't say he's a narcissist. But what we see is obviously that gets conditioned in the person. When you're always being shut down, when you're having conditional love, when you are, seemingly being questioned for everything, you will go into this mode where you will appease a person's ego just to make sure you guys don't have an argument. And in fact, you hear this several times in her language through the course of the actual show, where she's like, oh, babe, babe, but you never hear him say babe, and you hear her say, you hear her admit, oh, I love you, but you never heard him say I love you in this particular aspect. In fact, his love is conditional, seemingly, right? He chooses when to showcase love towards her, and we'll break that down in a second. Another thing is obviously having to hide innocent things from the person, right? Which is what she was talking about, with the fact that when, in her particular situation, she's already had to start hiding some of her. She didn't want to even post the situation in terms of her friend and dancing, because she knew he would have a problem with it.
I was in, babe, how many seconds was I in that video for?
I don't know.
The only reason as to why I didn't post it was because I know how he is, but I have every right to do that. And if I...
Pause. Look at the reason in what she just said. The only reason why I didn't post that dance that I was doing is because I know how he is. The method of control is now making her premeditated, even in her actions. This is becoming overly critical. Okay, so now you're even having to think about what you're doing. You're already starting to hide things. Okay, you're already starting to hide things, okay? Another method of control is that the love is given at a point in time when he feels he wants to give that love. Let's just have a little look at this. It's the first clip.
I would like you to give me some love, like some affection. Acknowledge that I'm there. Do you know what I mean? Just, I don't know what to say, because...
Pause it there. First thing she's saying is, this is what I want from you. I want love, I want affection, I want you to acknowledge that I'm there. Really simple things in a relationship which we all are looking for. We want to be acknowledged, we want to be loved, we want to be careful, we all want to be appreciated. And that's a part and parcel of a relationship, right? But watch what happens just moments before this, where they are talking about love. Listen to this.
It's real. We know how social media is. It changes.
So, Paul, do you believe that you are giving Chioma the love that she wants, requires, likes?
We live together.
We're roommates.
But you know, you can be in a room full of people and be lonely.
That's not the case.
So, right.
He literally ignored everything she said. He ignored the fact that she wants his love, and he answered it as the reason. Like, do you believe you give her this love? We're in the same house together. There's a conscious deliberation of ignoring the question at hand, answering in a way that doesn't answer the question. I won't even say answer the question. That's his answer, sorry. That is his answer. And that in itself is alarming. If you're saying, do you feel like you give her the love? And you say, well, we're in the same house together. You know, it's almost like the African parent that deals with a child, which is another way, which I don't want to go too quickly into my next point, which is when you treat the person not like an adult, but like a dependent, that's a method of control too. Right, where you have that dependent relationship that becomes control because the parent is in control of the child to a certain degree, right? So when you make that adult a child in your relationship, you make them a dependent upon you for emotional, for financial, spiritual, all these kind of things. Control begins to be wrestled in, right? And so if we watch a little bit further on.
So when you're together in a room, you feel that is giving her love.
100%.
And how do you feel about that?
That's
if you the straight descent in her actual body language there shows you how disgusted she is at that moment, hurt, in pain, disbelief that the brother can think to himself that him keeping her in the yard is a love sign. I want you to just pay attention to her body language though, how nonchalant this comes out of his mouth. Let's just pay attention. Look,
in a room, you feel that is giving her love.
100%.
There is not a shift or a dime in the body language. That's concerning, bro. Look, he means what he said in that moment. Face didn't change. Like, he means exactly what he's not lying. That's the way he thinks. That's the way he thinks. And that's a method of control. When you make your partner a dependent on you, almost like you treat them like a child. Like, you know, that person needs love, man. You know what I mean? That person needs love. You know what I'm saying? And it goes beyond just you providing a house, which again, as an adult, that's not the determinant of a love. But hey ho. Another thing, obviously, is that the constant need to be right, the constant need to belittle, and that's not only Chioma, that's also as well the therapist as well. He tries to exert his control over the therapist, and I'll give you a clip in that in a second. But let's play a little bit of this clip here.
because you take pictures, you're now part of a brand. Do they pay you?
No.
When they email me, is your name in the email?
Let me finish. Let me finish.
I didn't think so.
Let me finish. What Chioma's not getting is that
Oh my gosh.
I'm speaking from a position of power. Do you understand? The position I'm in, I don't get stressed over, oh, does my makeup look nice? Does my hair look nice? I don't have hair. Do you see where I'm coming from? Now, at the end of the day,
and the reason why I play this clip is because he does this several times throughout the show, where he begins to explain what a brand is, or explain what this is, or explain what this is. Oh, do you know what 1,000 words of the picture is? Like, he consistently does that to belittle the person in front of him. That's Chioma, and that's also the therapist. Now, obviously, we can't say for 100% because this is the first kind of interaction we've seen with Paul and women, but one may make a deduction that there's misogyny running through the veins in the way that he sees women. Okay? All right? It may be. I'm not going to say guarantee because, like I said, we have to see how a man he behaves with a man inside a room. But at the moment, it could seem like that because the way he talks as a way to say, I am the powerhouse in this room. No one can tell me nothing. And that in itself, like I said, is a method of control as well. If you even look at another clip here, I think it's very early on, where he actually checks the therapist. And it's like, bro, like...
But you know what? I'll tell you something. A picture paints 1,000 words, right? Now, 1,000 words, if you're educated like myself, once you digest it, you understand what it means. So all it takes is 1 second for me to see 1 or 2 moves that I know, okay, something's going on. Yeah, she's trying to do something.
I was dancing.
Yeah, okay. If you didn't post it on your page, why would you let your friend post it on her page?
So in between that point in time, I should have stopped it a little bit earlier for you guys, where he talks about if you know what 1,000 words is. He does that quite a few times. If you know what this is. And the shot is not towards Chioma, it's actually to the therapist, again, because he wants to wrestle control. And he also wants to, once he belittles the therapist, anything she says that is in favor of Chioma is now going to have no credibility. It's actually warfare. Because obviously the therapist is the authority figure in the room right now. She's conducting the therapy right now. If you begin to break down the therapist and tear down the therapist's credibility, what you're in a sense saying is the therapist isn't credible. So anything the therapist says towards Chioma in her defense is going to be a non-starter, which is probably why he wanted to go to the church, because maybe there's some misogynistic views that are there that will back his particular viewpoint. That's just a sentiment I may be holding. It's not the absolute truth, it's my opinion. But we see with the Chioma and him situation, Chioma and the therapist situation, the constant need to try to remove that pillar. If I can remove that pillar, because remember, it's Chioma who wanted to bring him here. So if I remove your authority figure in this room, you no longer have no leg to stand on. If I can dominate your therapist, then you don't have no longer no leg to stand on. You couldn't stand on one with me, so there's no way. If I now take the therapist out of the game, you definitely have no legs now. You have to listen to me. I'm definitely right, and that's a method of control, wanting to be right all the time. Okay, but. I want to go a little bit deeper into some of the points that were on the actual show. One of the things that also as well that happened that I think was really important was that I think Chioma mentioned about losing some brand deals as well, due to her having to monitor how she posts now, right? I don't know if I can get the clip as well. Let's go around right here. Let's see if we can play it.
Women that you've selected, buff things that you've selected to put on your table. Yeah, he's insulting me right now because you can do stuff and I can't.
It's not for me.
Who are you speaking?
That's another method of control. When you issue double standards intentionally to create a divide between us and them. Right? That's the divide and conquer. That is double standards issued. And we'll talk about this in the insecurity part 2 coaching episode. We'll deal with that, the part 2 where we deal with the coaching aspect. But, in control and controlling insecurity, what you want to do also is to create a double standard. I can do this because this creates a superiority and a hierarchy of rank. If I'm always right, like I said if I'm always right, now when I say something, it's going to be taken more seriously. When you do something, no, it's different for you because you are of a different rank. We're not of the same rank. And doing that creates problems in your relationship. And that is oftentimes from the insecurity that you do that. But let's play a bit more of the clip.
Speaking to.
It's not for me.
The one thing I have, Instagram, that is away from him, he wants to control that and police that. Like, I've lost out on a lot of deals. I don't even post as often because of Paul. And he's out here entertaining women. Like, Paul has a type.
Do you understand? Do you know how severe that is? I know Chioma's kind of saying it lightly, but it's severe. If he now, and bear in mind, obviously, suffice obviously, like I said, obviously everyone has their limitations in terms of what they feel is comfortable in a relationship, in terms of their partner posting something on their Instagram. Let's say, for instance, you want to be wearing bikinis and your partner's not necessarily comfortable. That's a discussion. It's a discussion. Okay, it's not a control thing, right? It's a discussion. And if they come to the same conclusion as you did, then fine. But here's the thing. She's spoken about obviously the fact that she's lost deals because of the fact that he's policed it so hard that she wants to make it work, that she decides to concede. Now, this is where your voice is being lost because boundaries are being eroded. You see, and it's when someone asks or suggests like, hey, can you think about this? I think it affects me, right? They don't do this every single time on every single boundary which you exist on your personal space. Someone who's making a general, credible request maybe does this with 1 or 2 things because maybe they're like, this really affects me. But to do it on every single thing and to be always questioning your boundaries is problematic. And again, it's a method of control. It's a method of coming from a place of insecurity. But she's lost deals. He's policing the Instagram. She doesn't post now as much and that's coming from her own mouth. If she hears herself, maybe she'll understand that this is severe. This isn't just He's insecure. This is now leading into destructive behaviors where you're now no longer being free to do as you please, to do as you need to do, or do as you want to do, right, as an individual. Okay, and that's very, very important. Okay, earlier on I showed a clip about stroking the ego. Another thing that is really important is that as she does this, she's having to soothe the bear. And soothing the bear is all about you having to kind of do, enablers do this thing where it's like, if I soothe you, you will then supply me what I need. Now, earlier on I played a clip of Chioma saying she wants love and affection. You know what I'm saying? And what you will do to get that as an enabler, this is what I'm saying. As an enabler, what you'll try to do is you'll try to appease the person who's abusive or controlling in the hope that as you're appeasing them, they will also do for you. Okay? Let's just watch a little bit more of this.
Yes.
And what are your...
No, you don't. You don't trust me, clearly.
So hang on. What are your feelings for Paul?
I'm in love with Paul. That's why I reached out to you, because I'm trying to save our relationship. I don't want it to get to a point where you realise what you've lost when it's too late, okay? That's not a threat, I'm just saying, because you need to understand that you're kind of being unfair to me, babe.
Do you see how quickly she shifted? And one thing I love about Chioma is she does love this man. She loves this man. If you see the switch that she made from, she was like, and then she switched now to, babe, you're being unfair to me, blah, blah. The tone, the energy shift, right? But watch what's going to happen.
And you have been for a while. And yeah, I love him and I kind of want to work through this, but I need him to understand and to kind of see what he's doing. And he doesn't see that.
So twice she says, I love you. I'm trying to work this out with him. I need him to see it, etc., etc. Like that is truth. I guess in watching it from my example, watching it because I've watched the whole show, there is parts of where these words where she changes it here are to soothe the bear. Because when she first started, it was, you don't trust me. And then she realized, hold on a minute, I'm getting hyped. And then she's trying to soothe him, hopefully to get him to come around his side, right? But if you hear what he says...
Right. Paul, let me reverse it now. Do you trust Shona?
I do.
Really?
You do?
Yeah.
That's good.
So why can I not dance then?
No. Look, it's not just the dancing.
And actually, what had happened was, the moment she came... and then said, look, I love you, and da-da-da-da-da. He's also come down. If you watch his energy, like the whole pause, look into air, don't want to say it too soon. I'm kind of thinking about what I'm going to say because I don't want it to be coming out in a bad way. The energy completely shifted. So it seemingly does work. It seemingly does work where when she soothes, he soothes. But guess what? It won't last long. Okay, it works in bits and in spades. It works it works in random patterns. And look, yes, it will work if you're under control and submission and under duress. If you become a doormat, yeah, you soothing the bear. But eventually what happens is he will continue to take more and more space. This is Israel and Palestine, taking more and more boundary and territory, all right? And until there is none of you left. And then they blame you for why you're like this, because they wanted you to put a boundary up. They needed you to put a boundary up. They needed a force to stop themselves, right? So they end up blaming you, even though it's not your fault. Why should I have to stop you doing what you're doing, right? Another thing that is really scary as well, I think, for their relationship is the measure of love that Paul's willing to give. He controls how he gives this love. It's almost performative. It's almost like, I'll give this love in accordance to performance, right? But let's just listen to this carefully.
The love struck to love. I'm just saying that. For example, we could go out for dinner and I could wear a really nice dress. Paul would not say anything. He'll take the picture at the end of the evening and I can post in that dress and people will love the dress. All of a sudden he'll say, oh, the dress is nice, but why are they commenting?
Pause. So listen to what she said. She said, the moment I'm wearing something, he won't say anything, right? And the moment I put on this dress and everybody else says something, then I say something. Then he wants to say something. Not only does he say something, then he wants to ask why people are commenting the way they're commenting. Do you know how scary that is? I need you to I need to deep what's being said here. He waits for when there is a validation externally, and as soon as an external validation comes in, he wants to control that because he sees that if she gets this external validation, for him the fear is she'll leave. So what he does is he starves her of affection and love, right? In the hope that she'll stay dependent upon him. But then when she gets fed externally, he has to now wrestle back that control and power. So then he'll give her the compliment, but then he'll trash the outside external validation. That's control. That's control.
Doing this. Why couldn't you say it before? To me, it's like he's probably upset because I get the attention that he's not giving me. Not that I'm equating it to love and I'm holding on to the love as if it's real. We know how social media is. It changes.
So, Paul, do you believe that you are giving Chioma the love that she wants, requires, likes?
We live together.
You see that? So that led to the clip that we played now. This is what people do when they're insecure. And when they're controlling, they measure and dish out love when they want to. They show you affection and love when they want to. Why? Because it has to make you dependent upon us giving it to you. You have to beg, cry, shout for it. And when I feel you're worthy enough, I will give you that love and affection. But I hold that love and affection. And I give it when I want to. Okay? Because I need you to be under my duress and my farm. I need you to be under control. Now, he may never admit that. Most people don't admit their bad behavior because it means looking at themselves as a bad person. But we're not saying that the person's a bad person. You got bad behavior, right? You got bad behavior, real bad. Okay, all right. We've got crazy jealousy, which we kind of just showed that clip a little bit where we spoke about the Instagram and policing that. Even in this clip here, where he talks about not giving affection when she's on Instagram or when she's wearing a banging dress until it's posted, is all part of the crazy jealousy, right? It's crippling, all right. I think Chioma kind of senses the walls are kind of closing it, and this is how you'll feel. You'll feel like this when you're in a relationship where you're being abused and you're being controlled. That you feel like the walls are closing in. Let's just get this clear. Let me get this clip.
No, you don't. You don't trust me, clearly.
So hang on. What are your feelings for Paul?
I'm in love with Paul.
Now, what they were talking about was obviously, do you trust me? Now, the moment someone says, the moment she's having to question and saying to you with so much vim that she knows that he doesn't trust her, the walls are closing in because we already know how vigilant he is becoming. The walls are already closing in. They're coming in thick and they're coming in fast, and they are literally squeezing her. That's where she's at the moment. She's literally being squeezed. And that's why her voice is also being silenced. All right? And that's why she feels like her voice is being silenced. Let me play another little clip just to add to what we're trying to say in here.
Yes. Like, normally I'm not even able to get this far because as soon as I say something, he's triggered. If he doesn't want to hear it, he's triggered. And he dismisses me. Like I said, he walks out. This is what I mean. And he thinks there's nothing wrong with us.
And so what you're hearing again is that whenever she tries to also get to conversation with him, he'll shut it down. And the reason why he'll shut it down is because there's no need to figure this out because I've got it figured out already. There's no need to figure it out because I'm always right. There's no need to have this conversation because I don't want to discuss something when I'm not ready to. Those are all methods of control, okay? They're all methods of control. There was some outbursts that he did, I believe. I can't remember, I need to find a clip. I can remember the clip where it shocked me, and I was like, okay, this is going to be intimidating.
So, if I'm
Tell him now
expressing
what you'd like him to do.
I would like you to give me some love, like some affection. Acknowledge that I'm there. Do you know what I mean? Just, I don't know what to say because, yeah, I don't know. Just.
Babe, you're taking a fucking piss. And you're laughing. Look.
Do you know how scary that is? Do you know, when I watch it, I was like, blood, I hope he's acting. I hope he's acting, because that is a level of madness, bro. For her to say to you, I'm just wanting some love, I want some affection. That's really what I'm wanting. She's not even asking for Gucci or Prada bags, okay? And for him to say you're taking the effing piss, that is a war movement tactic, making her feel scared, making her feel like the environment is not safe to share emotions and feelings and thoughts, making her feel like what she's saying is stupid for asking for a basic necessity of any relationship that you're in. And you're saying, are you fucking stupid? Are you taking a piss, sorry? That creates an environment where you will never want to share again. That's where the voice gets lost. That's where the voice gets lost, right? That's where the voice gets lost. When you realize the environment no longer suits you, right? Whenever he wants to, share this point, he's got no problem with sharing his point. Whenever she wants to share a point, he wants to shut it all the way down. Let's watch a little bit more.
No. Now, okay. Out of everything that I've just said in terms of, the guy, her entertaining it on the emoji stuff, you're now telling her to ask me what she wants from me when she is the one that is ruining our brand.
Our brand? How has my Instagram got anything to do with you? No, tell me, because you met me on the Instagram. Did you build my platform? Yeah, straight away. It has nothing to do with him, and that's what he's too possessive over that account. Do you want it? Because it has nothing to do with you. If you maybe log me out and sign your name. If Paul fundamentally he wants his face there.
No. I need to.
You see how he stopped the therapist there? That's a method of control, and also is a method of domineering. And actually, also as well, what it does is, as a therapist decided to jump in there, as soon as he said no, I'd have been like, Paul, can I be honest with you? If you do that again, we'll have to make you leave this session. You can never trump the therapist. You can never trump the person who's helping you. It's a sign of disrespect, number one. Number two, also it's a method of control. And I can't lie to have that method of control. And the reason why, not because it's a chest-to-chest thing, but the reason why is because then your partner will not feel safe in this environment if I can't hold you to account. If I can't hold you to account as a coach, and me, you, and your partner have a discussion, and you come to me with relationship issues, and your partner starts wilding out, and I don't tell him to buck up his ideas and fix up in that moment, otherwise face leaving this conversation, right? Then we've got a completely different. Then we've got anarchy, right? And he will run riot. He or she will run riot. Okay, so when he said, hold on 1 minute, no. Should have been, listen, I've said I'm going to speak, let me speak. And when I finish, you can talk. Is that all right with you? And you wait for the response. Is that all right with you? Okay, and the reason why we do that is because, like I said, it's to protect not only myself, but it's also to protect your partner in this relationship, to have a safe space. Okay, so we see that kind of behavior all the time from him. It's a domineering aspect to try and showcase himself to be better and stronger than everybody else. There's another clip I want to play, how he switches goalposts.
Millions, you can't go there looking like you're looking for peanuts.
When I'm in the club, in a certain environment, drinks, all the good stuff for the client, right? When I actually come back with the bag, as Chioma said, there's no complaints. So why the hell are we having the discussion now?
Why would I complain about you getting the bag? That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, but this is what it takes.
No, you can, first of all, you don't have to go to the club to woo a client. You can take them for dinner. You could go to a pub and have drinks, you and that client. And if you're going to go to the club, you can invite other guys, correct? You have friends, babe.
Don't mix business and pleasure.
But so why are women with you and your business partner?
Because that's not pleasure, that's business.
With women that you've selected, buff things that you've selected to put on your table. Me. Yeah, he's insulting me right now.
So
because
even the body language, if you watch him in the sofa, he knows he's taking a piss. He knows he's taking an absolute Mikey. Let's just go back a little bit. Watch the body language. Look how the neck is in the head. he knows he's taking the piss. Look at even his body language, how he shifted towards her. He knows he's taking the mic. He's not even trying to be assertive at this point. He's just taking the mic. So if you see, normally when he's trying to be assertive, he might come slightly off the more couch. He's more facing the camera. Now he's actually facing her, hands clasped, and neck in the head almost as well. Like, it's intentional.
Women that you've selected, buff things that you've selected to put on your table. Yeah, he's insulting me right now
so
because you can do stuff and I can't.
It's not for me.
Who are you speaking to?
It's not for me.
The one thing I have is...
Even his tone is more jokey. He's not being serious about this. Yeah, and it's a double standard, as I said earlier on. But what was most important about the actual conversation was how he shifted the goalposts. The conversation was about the women and about him policing her on Instagram because other guys will see it. And yet, when she's talked about the girls in the club, which again can be business, we're not going to play with that. But the goalpost got shifted. It's like, yo, bro, like, so there will be no equivalence here. Oh, it's like, that's my work, whatever. But it's like, my G, she wasn't even with guys. She was she was only dancing on Insta. She only took a photo for Insta. It wasn't for guys. It was just for her and her business and what she was doing on Instagram, right? But you've now made it I'm doing mine for business. So my behavior's not mad. It's like, no, bro. Your behavior's mad. Right, your behavior is mad. I want my final clip to kind of play this for you guys because Chioma is in pain. I'm gonna put it straight. Chioma is in some extreme pain, and she's struggling to. Even that video we just saw, where it said, "Yeah, no, he's taking a piss now." Like she's on the edge. She's teetering on the edge, right? Let's listen to this clip here.
Because
I'm relaxed. Listen to what I'm saying.
Everyone's listening to you. You're the only one shouting.
Listen to what I'm saying. Now, at the end of the day,
look at the look. That is pissed, but that's hurt. That's pain. That is disbelief. That is, I don't recognize you anymore, Paul. That's what that look is.
there's a show.
Look how she's stuck on him. She doesn't recognize who this person is. And the reason why she doesn't recognize is because at this moment, any point in time, she can't control him. She can't control him. This is what I'm saying. You cannot control the person who wants to control you. Enablers think that because they're able to soothe the bear at points in time, you know, blah, blah, blah. But as you just heard in that clip, she was trying to soothe him and he wasn't to be soothed at that moment. Look at the body language. Look how now he's not, look how now when he wants to be assertive, off the chair, forward, sitting, because he wants to assert himself. It's different when you're sitting in a chair or relaxed back, right? When he was sitting back like this, you know, what do you mean? Like, did it? And she was like, no, he's taking a piss now. Why was she able to say that? The body language is different. When he wants to make that point, straight up forward, coming forward, speaking, it's important, right? He uses his body to speak a language. And here you can see her. She is absolutely hurt. But in this point in the moment as well too, I don't know if she recognizes at this point too, my ability to soothe the bear is not present. It's not happening anymore.
Right? With every show, behind the show is the curtains.
You're not part of it.
I'm the one that's pulling the fucking strings.
You're not pulling
but
any
she can't
string.
see it.
You're not pulling any
It's
string.
over her head.
You're taking
She
pictures.
sees Skittles
like
from
anybody
the
else.
sky. She thinks it's natural.
No,
But
excuse
she doesn't
me.
know there's someone that's on top that's pouring the Skittle.
What are you
Excuse
talking about?
this is getting nobody anywhere.
Exactly, and that's why
Why
the
are you
fuck I'm leaving
claiming
this place.
something
You're
that you
fucking
have
wasting my
nothing to
time.
do with?
You.
How are you-
Thank you and no thank you.
What are you claiming?
Can someone
Where are
carry
you
this
going?
equipment, please?
Where are you going?
He made an absolutely irrelevant point which didn't make sense, and he knew it didn't make sense, but he had to make a grand entrance exit because he needs to make a big scene to make you go after him. And that's another aspect of manipulation and control. Chioma'S in pain, bro. Like, because you're trying to soothe the bear, and sometimes it has worked. And that's why she goes after him again, is to soothe the bear. And the trouble here is when you're an enabler, it doesn't work. The controller doesn't want to give up power. They do not want to stop abusing, okay, the power that they have. They're going to only further advance in territory in terms of your boundaries. So from a reviewer perspective, I'm looking at it as, Chioma, this is not the right relationship for you. But from a coaching perspective, which we're going to do in part 2, I have to try and look at the analyzation of things, right? And we're going to break down insecurity and how it shows itself up in a relationship and give you the clips as well for it as well. Guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of what uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, like, again, and share it too, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Leave a comment down below as well. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated. Appreciate you guys.